Joining me right now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is House Speaker Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Mr. Speaker, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
Will you bring an impeachment inquiry against President Biden this September?
Well, Maria, first you've got to understand, only because Republicans took the majority have we found out what President Biden told us when he was running for office is not true. He said he never had any dealings with his son's business, and that he never even talked to him. We've now found out not only did he call into the meetings, he went to dinner, and after the dinner, Hunter Biden got a new Porsche, that there was $3.5 million transferred. We now found out as he was a sitting vice president, the family created 20 shell companies. They received 16 of 17 payments from Romania while he was vice president. We now found that the money would flow to 9 family members. He has to continue to change this. But since then, we found a movement of his administration of weaponization. We found that now the special prosecutor, David Weiss, actually let the statute of limitations run out on Hunter Biden's taxes. We found that the FBI actually informed Hunter Biden and the inaugural committee prior to our ability to go and interview him. We also have a DOJ that tried to give a sweetheart deal to Hunter Biden, and the judge said no. So if you look at all the information we've been able to gather so far, it is a natural step forward that you would have to go to an impeachment inquiry. And just so your viewers understand what that means, that provides Congress the apex of legal power to get all the information they need. Because remember what's laying out there right now. We have an attorney general that could have lied to the American public, which he has now named a special prosecutor. They have said 2 different things, and you have Gary Shapley on a little later today, IRS whistleblowers that have come forward that show that there's 2 forms of justice when it comes to America. But now when you look at this, it looks like a culture of corruption that's been happening within the entire Biden family. You've got to get to be able to answer that to the American public. The American public deserves that answer. Who's lying? What information went on? Who paid? And what foreign governments, when you found now that we know that an FBI actually had an informant, which got to a form of a 1023, claiming that they had bribed then vice president and saying that we would never find the money because they went through shell companies and withheld that from the IRS individuals investigating Hunter Biden.
I think you made such an important point right there that needs to be underlined. We would not know any of this if it were not for even your 5-person majority. Thanks to your investigations, the hearings, the on-the-record testimonies that your investigators have been doing, we have learned a lot about what has taken place allegedly during this period when Joe Biden was vice president. What other evidence are you seeking in order to bring that? Do you need more evidence to prove to your members? Do you have the votes for an inquiry?
Well, we have been out on summer recess right now working in the district. When we go back, we'll discuss this, but we find new information each week. We did not know about the whistleblowers coming forth. We did not know of all these times that the president lied to the American public. Each step we take contradicts what the Bidens had said before. Could you imagine being a sitting vice president and your family's members set up 20 shell companies? American companies don't do that. And then they deal with foreign countries that you got 16 of 17 payments from Romania while you're vice president. And then we have the vice president, now president, claiming that he utilized American tax dollars to withhold from Ukraine to get a prosecutor fired. We just recently found out during break from a business partner with Hunter Biden that they were being pressured when they were on that board to try to do something about that prosecutor. So there's a lot of questions still. And to be able to get the answers to these questions, you would need impeachment inquiry to empower Congress, Republicans and Democrats, to be able to get the answers that the American people deserve to know. I've had Democrats now tell me that they're very concerned because they back this president based upon what he told America. And with each turn, we find that is not true.
Does it become harder with this other issue that you've got, and that is the funding deadline? Will you be able to deepen this probe while also battling Democrats and the White House about funding government by September 30th? Walk us through your scenarios that you expect. Do you think we'll see a short-term continuing resolution while you finish the appropriations process?
Well, one of our goals is to change Washington. We're tired of these omnibus bills where Congress doesn't do their work like their appropriations. So in the debt ceiling, we put a provision in there. If you didn't do your job, there was a 1% cut across the board. It made a lot of members mad, but they're actually doing their work. I don't believe we'll have enough time to pass all the appropriation bills by September 30th. So I would actually like to have a short-term CR only to make our argument stronger. Because, Maria, if we shut down, all of government shuts it down, investigation and everything else, it hurts the American public. But if we're able to pass our appropriation bills, we're in a stronger position to remove those Pelosi policies that are locked into law right now, the wokeism, the overspending, the non-security of this border. We want to secure the border, make us energy independent, make our streets safer, and let our parents have a say in their kids' education. We can't do all of that. And you want to go into that debate with the strongest hand. So if we could pass more, do a short-term one would make us in a stronger position, because over in the Senate, I'm sorry, the Republicans and Democrats are voting 97% to spend even higher than what our debt ceiling agreement agreed to. And we're in this discussion together, and so we've got to have a stronger hand. And I want to put us in the position to be able to get greater savings and take away all those Pelosi policies.
Would you be in favor of doing a short-term CR till when? December? January?
Well,
What's
the old Washington used to always try to set them up right before a holiday to pressure. I want to make sure we're able to set this where it's not by a holiday, that it's just enough time that if we can do more of our work now, that we could be in conference with the Senate. I would give us a short-term, because Washington only works on deadlines. Give us that short-term deadline that makes our policies stronger, that we've been able to pass them, and makes a stronger argument in committee to remove the Pelosi policies.
And one of the policies you've been pushing is energy independence. We saw Americans get hurt once again by inflation this summer. Gasoline all the way up to $7 in some areas. What can you do to affect energy independence?
Well, it affects so much, from supply chain, inflation, how much money families have. And God has blessed this nation that we could be energy independent. We have proven it. But this policy of the Democrats has really harmed us. It's made the world less safe and America weaker. So I will be traveling to Japan to meet with the G7 speakers, and we're going to be talking about energy policy. I think it would be positive that American natural gas replaces Russian natural gas. If we just replace Russian natural gas with American, in Europe alone for 1 year, we would lower 218 million tons of CO2 emissions because our natural gas is cleaner. America would be economically stronger, our prices would be lower, and the world would be safer. So I'm going to get together with the G7, all the speakers from those nations, and talk about energy policy and hopefully be able to make America stronger and the world safer.
A lot of breaking news here this morning. So you will be participating in the G7 Speaker Series in Japan in September. Real quick, you have mentioned Maui. President Biden has been in Lake Tahoe on vacation, but his team says he's getting updates on the disaster in Maui. What are your plans?
Well, it is devastating. I come from a firefighter family, and to look at the number of deaths, but more importantly, the hundreds of Americans still missing, and to have the leader of this nation say repeatedly no comment, that is unacceptable. There are so many mistakes that have happened that could have protected American lives. There are so many things that could have happened that could have protected this fire not to happen in the first place. So I will be going to Hawaii to look at Maui and see ways that we can improve that. In the world today, this has got to stop. But more importantly, it is unacceptable to say no comment to the American people and those who are still missing. We are going to do all that we can to make sure we help you.